Let's talk about one of the best Super Bowl performance halftimes. Kendrick Lamar's Super Performance halftime had historical meaning as well as entertainment value. When asked what Kendrick Lamar is known for, Jeffrey Brooks replied he is known for traditional elements of West Coast rap such as misogyny, materialistical, and violence. However, what sets him apart from others is his exploratory of traditional themes such as police brutality and masculinity, as well as his willingness to touch on more taboo themes such as mental health. Brooks goes on to say that another lesson in Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly album is that vulnerability and authenticity lays the groundwork of individuals to embrace their individuality. Though Kendrick's authenticity and vulnerability, he's able to express his individualism in powerful ways. Listening to Kendrick Lamar might help mental health practitioners and other professionals to understand the day-to-day internal and external struggles of their patients. Hip-hop might also be a way for young people to understand and consume their own vulnerability, resilience, and life choices in culture relevance and easy, accessible manners. Throughout his performance, I am able to see many of these taboo subjects that I've mentioned before.
It's your uncle, Sam. And this is the great American game.
That was Samuel L. Jackson. He is portraying Uncle Sam, who ironically is what the U.S. is supposed to be representing, the white stars and red and white stripes. We continue to see Uncle Sam throughout his performance, and he drops his infinite line that I personally love so much.
No. Too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up.
I think Jackson was amazing for this role due to his social commentary as well as his background and his portraying of characters like Uncle Tom figures in Django Unchained adds layers of meaning to his performance and suggests that he was also speaking from personal experience, understandings of the issues at hand, and I think it also amplifies Kendrick Lamar's message more. As the performance continues to go on, Uncle Sam becomes a Uncle Tom, who is a Black American who turns their back on the Black community and culture and willingly embraces white Americans. He accuses Kendrick Lamar of being too loud, too reckless, too ghetto, voicing stereotypes often associated with Black Americans and hip-hop music. James B. Stewart wrote, "Over the past 3 decades, hip-hop has developed as a cultural and artist phenomenon, affecting youth cultures around the world. For many youth, hip-hop reflects the social, economic, political, and cultural relevance and conditions of their lives, speaking to them in language in a manner that they understood." Stewart goes on to saying that hip-hop must be taken seriously as a cultural, political, and economic phenomenon deserving of scholarly study similar to previous African-American artists and cultural movements such as the blues, jazz, the New York Negro Renaissance, and the civil rights, Black power, and Black artist movements as well.
Nobody pray for me. It's been that day for me. Yeah.
Another thing you might have missed were the backup dancers' clothes colors. It represents the American flag, and the way they're standing shows the American flag. Halfway through the performance, they all start to bend down, especially when he starts to sing his song, Humble. This is showing that America was built on the back of Black Americans during slavery. Black enslaved people literally built the foundation of this nation, including have built the U.S. Capitol and the White House. Additionally, they built churches, universities, state house, profitable landscape. The labor was provided and comfortable and even luxurious ways of life for the U.S. citizens, even as freedom and citizenships were denied to Black people. This next part I did not notice myself, but I watched an interview on The Hill about it. And apparently, they all separate into their own colors later on in the performance to show how Americans are divided by color now.
The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
Another thing you may have missed was when he said, "The revolution is about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy." Let's break this down. This line was referenced to Jill Scott's 1971 performance, "The Revolution Will Not Be Televised," which argues that change does not come from corruption, but individuals, and that the media will not showcase the violence of racism. Another reason why I think Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance halftime show was really as popular and gained so much attention as it did is because of how much meaning he put behind it. For example, using a Jill Scott reference at a time like this was executed very well because, according to the National Museum of African American Histories and Culture, Jill Scott was a writer who influenced other writers, academics, and musicians from Indian rock to his work during the 1970s. Helped African American music genres such as hip hop and neo soul. He has been described by music writers as a grandfather of rap. The second part, where he referenced himself as the wrong guy, I thought he was referencing himself because he's not a corrupt person, but according to TikTok, the wrong guy was apparently Donald Trump, who was in attendance for the Super Bowl.
Cultural divide. I'm gonna get it on the floor.
You really about to do it?
40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
They get on it like that.
In this part of his performance, he says 40 acres and a muse. This is bigger than the music, which referenced the promised Following the Civil War, General Sherman issued Special Field Order No. 15 in January 1865, which aimed to provide land to former enslaved families in plots no more than 40 acres each. But no more than a month later, President Andrew Johnson, who had owned slaves and publicly shared his belief of white supremacy, overturned the order before the end of the year and returned the land to slave owners and traders who had originally owned it.
They not like us.
No.
They not like us.
No.
They not like us. They not like us.
No.
They not like.
Another thing you may have missed was Serena Williams crip walking to the song Not Like Us, which was a direct target hit to her ex-boyfriend, the Canadian rapper Drake. The history of crip walking can be dated all the way back to the 1940s by a man named Henry Crip Herndon. He was an American professional dancer who appeared mostly in black theaters and nightclubs during the late 1940s and 50s. What distinguished Henry from nearly all of his peers was that he was double amputated, dancing with only one leg and one arm and lacking significant stumps for an artificial leg. He walked using a crutch that he danced both with and without. Later that year, a man named Robert Jackson, also known as Sugar Bear, who was one of the first members of the Crip gang, took credit for the dance, and now has become a symbolized with the Crip gang in South California. It is one of the most recognized gang signals, and over the years, it has gained worldwide popularity. Williams faced a lot of backlash due to this performance. According to some netizens, it was considered tasteless and classless, and others accusing her of glamorizing gang violence.
Wait, hold on. I go by the name of K. Kendrick Lamar, OK Lamar, Mr. Morale. This is Gen X. We come all the way from Compton, California to a party with y'all. Let me hear you say, Master! They acting bad, but somebody gotta do it. Got my foot up on the gas.
Kendrick Lamar faced a lot of backlash for this halftime Super Bowl performance show, with some netizens even saying that it was racist and that there wasn't one white person in the whole show. With another netizen saying they get away with it, but if it was all white, it would be a different story. The halftime show should be both black and white and be opposing for everybody. And to that I say, if you actually watch the performance all the way through, you would realize that his all-black dancers were performing in a prison yard. The set was designed to highlight the issues of mass incarceration and the racial of these behind bars. Black Americans are incarcerated at a much higher rate than white Americans, even for the same crime.